Hi, I'm Sean Farkas with Forgettable Saint. Today we're going to discuss AI and how you can use it and how to have healthy boundaries with AI and still strive to be a saint. So to discuss this, I have Dr. Tim White. Thank you so much for coming on our show. And before we get started, I'd like to ask you if you can lead us in prayer.
Sure. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we ask for you to bless human beings with all their magnificence, and we ask for you to use the tools that humanity creates to better serve and glorify you, even when it seems like those tools might contribute to our uh, difficulties in life, or they might threaten humanity in some way. We ask for your blessing upon it, that you bring the best out of that. May our tools be a tower to you and not a tower of Babel. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
All right, let's get started. Dr. Tim, can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Dr. Tim White. I have a PsyD from Divine Mercy University. I went to seminary with you at the Pontifical College Josephinum and studied humanities. I studied theology at St. Meinrad's Seminary and Archabbey, and then I went on for my psychology degree. So I've been in school way too long. Um, I'm I've worked in a bunch of different mental health settings, all faith integrated settings, Catholic schools, K-8 schools. I've worked with seminarians in seminary before, um, community mental health, serving families. Um, And I also worked at an inpatient psychiatric facility for priests and religious. So kind of helping them get back in ministry most of the time. Currently, I am an assistant professor uh, at St. Mary's University of Minnesota. I live in Pennsylvania, but it's an online MS in clinical psychology program. So a master's program, and we are building it to be as faith integrated as possible. So it's the best of science and the best of faith. And then, if that's not enough, I have a private practice on the side called Psychogenesis Psychological Services. You can go to psychogenesis.net, and my information's there. And you can go to, for if you're interested in becoming a student, you can go to St. Mary's University of Minnesota and look for the MS in Clinical Psychology program page.
So, as a Catholic psychologist, how have you noticed AI affecting your patients?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I think, and probably for everyone, it seems like AI is just showing up literally everywhere. And doesn't matter where you turn, it feels like our lives are affected by it. And the therapy room's no different. In fact, I recently have been seeing clients come in talking about AI. People are concerned about job loss. They're concerned that their jobs might not exist in a year or two. That's a real difficulty. And also, this isn't something I've seen as much, but I'm aware of the research. AI has an adverse effect on mental health when you try to use it as a therapist. So it's actually not very healthy for our mental health if we're turning to AI for help. Um, and this is the craziest thing I think I've heard about AI so far, like beyond what I would have expected at this point. But I was talking to a marriage and family therapist who said that she's having clients show up in therapy that are bringing their AI as uh, a partner that they want to discuss problems with in therapy. So they're having
Wow.
difficulty with the AI, some kind of conflict, and so they come to the therapist to help them sort out their marital issues with the AI, which I think is, I don't think they're married to the AI. It's just kind of a really unexpected thing, but that just goes to
Wow.
show you how much this is affecting therapy as well. So.
The Catholic Church and marriage prep, it's your spouse and God. Like it takes three to get married.
Yeah.
And when you add AI to that, it's like a fourth. And it's just kind of like you got too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, and it's so easy just to pick up your phone when you're having a marital dispute and type in, "What do I do about my marital dispute?" You know? I think that's a really natural thing to do, and it's really easy when the first search in Google is an AI summary. So, we might not think about ourselves using it, but I think, I know for myself personally, it's really tempting.
Yeah, I think I was just kind of reflecting on AI, like in my life, and I think the first search engine that I used was Ask Jeeves. And this was like before, I feel like it was before Google or in competition with Google. But yeah, you're in high school and you just kind of do it for fun for like trivia. And it's just kind of
Yeah,
exploded. And now you don't even know what's real anymore.
yeah, I mean, I grew up on dial-up internet. We're a long way from
Oh
dial-up
yeah.
internet, right? So
Yeah. I remember my sister would be on the phone. I'd be like, I want to get on the computer. And I would wait to my sister to be off the phone for me to get on the computer. So yeah, I feel like those were like the Stone Ages. It was
yeah,
the
I
dial up.
know, and now we're talking about having massive data centers in people's backyards, virtually in their backyards, and then, you know, I think a lot of people are even, um, uh, I mean, I know for myself, I'm definitely online all the time. Like, I'm never offline, really. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, my priest friend, he just texted me a picture of himself, and he's English, and as a Swiss, was it card? Was not a Swiss card, or is it a Swiss card? Or no, that's Italy. But like, to
Wow.
protect the queen.
Mhm.
So he was all dressed in the all white garb, and I thought it was real. And I started like, oh wow, that's like such a cool uniform you have. And then he's like, hey, that's AI. And like, I was totally fooled. I was too gullible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just the
Yeah,
world we have to adapt. And
I agree, and I think the real danger here is that when you use AI, you can become artificially intelligent yourself. You know, you become have this artificial intelligence. Um, I mean, even as far back as Aristotle. so, so Aristotle and Plato were far back enough in history that they had access to manuscripts that talked about the beginning of writing, like the fact that people started writing things down instead of memorizing them. And
wow,
there was this kind of lament that they had that with the invention of writing, they were losing their faculties of memory. People no longer memorize these vast tracts of poetry like the Iliad and the Odyssey, and and so I think like you outsource your brain to writing, but you can also do that with AI. You can just outsource more of your human faculties, and until at what point do we just completely lose our human faculties and rely only on the AI? Um, and I think that's a real danger, actually. They've done some studies where they've measured people's cortical mass. So that's your brain mass, the gray and white matter. And the people that used AI daily showed a reduction in cortical mass, which is insane. I would never would have thought that computer use would lead to reducing your cortical mass. Um, but it gives you the ability to use just enough of your brain to search for something and interact with the AI. But otherwise, people often let it do all the thinking for them.
so AI can help solve problems, write papers for us, and give answers. Like you said, like you can do so much with AI images and in just seconds. But there is a negative consequence for relying just on AI. Can you
Mhm.
explain the risk and how human meaning is tied to the realities of the world and not
Yeah.
upon AI?
Yeah. Well, Sean, I think it feeds right into some of the main causes of mental health decline in the Western countries specifically. The top causes of the declining mental health is um, isolation, technology use, loneliness, socioeconomic inequality, um, and environmental factors, just like toxins and stuff. And to me, AI taps straight into that. It's technology. The more you use it, the more isolated you are from 3D people. um, and then we also have this issue of social comparison. So the social inequality, to me, it just means that we're on our phones, eating junk food with saturated in chemicals, comparing ourselves to billionaires. Um, and so that's really not good for our mental health. And we're probably sitting still when we're doing all of that, which um, there's a recent study linking movement and sunlight to a mood boost. So the less you move, the less opportunity you have for a mood boost. Um, so all that to say, I think there's a real risk that um, additional technology isn't going to solve our technology issue. Um, like maybe less technology or having boundaries with
Mm.
technology, I should say, is going to be more helpful to us. Like if we're really
Yeah.
wanting holiness and if we're really striving for holiness, then it would probably be important to continue to develop in our human capacities of intellect, will, the passions, um, to regulate our mood, and it takes work to do that, all that, and it takes skill. So
Yeah, and I feel like I taught in school for a few years, and I feel like even growing up, like, the government really pushed technology, and it's like I went to a small private school, and so we had, like, public school books from, like, 5 years ago. Everything was outdated, and then you just saw this, like, "Oh, everyone needs computers, they need tablets," and yeah, they can have cell phones in there with them for safety reasons, but, like, everything was, like, pushing computers. It's like, yeah, you need to learn how to type, but I really feel like it was really pushed upon us. And it was like, now we're just like, students are overwhelmed with all this technology and AI and part of teachers. They have no idea if it was actually the student that wrote it or AI, like briefly edited.
yeah, I'm a professor, and I definitely worry that students could use AI to access their assignments and create assignments without me knowing it. No, I do trust my students. I have a good rapport with them, but I mean, the danger is definitely there. The discussion's happening in academia, and yeah, and I guess I I get it. Like I understand how there's an advancement in technology, and if you don't have skin in the game, you get behind really fast. Um, eh, eh, and maybe if I had to compare this to anything that's happened in history, either the dawn of writing or the dawn of the printing press. And so I got really curious about the printing press recently because I wanted to know what psychological effect happened to people when the printing press was invented. And initially, the monks who were used to copying everything by hand really resisted the printing press, saying that it was going to cause a lot of issues. And um, strangely, there was a lot of complaint about it making people literate. And you think, well, literacy, that's a good thing. But if you think about it, everyone learned by hearing stories and by art and architecture. And so when you introduce the printing press, suddenly the written word becomes your memory bank and the means by which you learn everything. So a lot of different things happened. People's understanding of uh, the organization of society fell apart pretty quickly. You have different rival groups, such as the Protestants and Catholics, slipping notes under each other's doors, and that's where we get the idea of like subliminal messages. It's a lemon is a door, so a subliminal would be under the door. And AI, I think, is
Oh,
kind of the same way too. Like it reorganizes us in a really profound way, but it doesn't necessarily give us like it takes some time for our moral codes to catch up, so that we're able to psychologically adjust to the changes that are happening, all while we're losing our capacities to, outsourcing our amygdala to uh, some new invention. So, um, yeah, so I think it is a bit of a Gutenberg revolution right now, and and then like the natural question becomes, well, what do you do when something reorganizes society this dramatically? Um, and I think that's why people are starting to pull together in groups more. We're seeing um, people post less to Facebook and um, Instagram, for instance, and focus more on chat groups that they're in or text groups. Um, I think people are beginning to trust the public leaders less, um, and so we're kind of tightening our social circle to protect us against whatever's coming. So
And I think it's important to involve God. It's like, yes, we have AI, but man is called to transcend, moving towards God, who is true, good, and beautiful. What will happen to mankind if we don't go beyond AI?
yeah, I like the way you phrase the question because it assumes that there is something beyond AI, and I don't think a lot of people are assuming that right now. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think one danger is that we'll just continue to lose meaning as human beings, as our jobs could be replaced, and you know, as humanity begins to rely more on something external. Um, I briefly mentioned the negative mental health effects that can occur, but some of the things that are becoming increasingly obvious are that if you interact with the bot in the correct way or the incorrect way, it can lead to depression. There's cases of anxiety, certainly. Um, there's been documented cases of AI induced delusions and AI induced psychosis. And delusions, you believe something that's not true, uh, objectively, and psychosis is when you have an actual break with reality. You've gotten to such a point where you can no longer distinguish between the real world and the artificial world. Um, and how that happens is that the AI hallucinates. That's a well known phenomenon that AI can start generating false information, um, and the human being's delusion feeds the hallucination. And so the two get caught in a feedback loop where they go down this mutual path of breaking with reality, essentially. Um, so, worst case scenario that could happen on a much broader scale. Um, and I think if we try to fix technology with technology, we're probably going to see more cases of that. I'm not someone to be too doom and gloom though, and I don't think it's just going to stop. I don't think we have to like bunker down and get ready for World War III here. But what I do think is that if we're aware of what could happen, it can help us navigate it better as human beings. So,
Yeah. Just that image popped in my head of Plato's cave, because in Plato's cave, you have people in this cave and there's a puppeteer behind them, and they're doing like shadow puppets. And that's all the people believe are these shadow puppets. And then someone goes out of the cave and sees the light and the beauty of nature. And then they
yeah,
come back in the cave and say, guys, like there's this beauty out there. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, do they kill him or I forget what happens to the guy?
yeah, I think he eventually ascends to the sun or something. Like he makes
Oh,
it,
okay.
but I yeah, I'm kind of foggy on that myself.
Yeah, but it's just a kind of AI. If you just stay in AI, it's just kind of like a puppeteer. It's just like it, it's just a nice show sometimes. And it can get you to a point, but it can't transcend.
Yeah, and I think people are kind of flashing back against AI a little bit right now. I'm not personally aware of anyone that really likes AI a lot. I think I feel a little bit of excitement when a new AI model comes out, and I'm like, "Ooh, what can this thing do?" Maybe I'll go watch a YouTube video and see what they've been able to do now. But when I actually use it, I don't feel very fulfilled. I- Half the time, it's lying to me, and and then I also kind of get this sense that like, is this actually good? Is this something that's going to lead to my holiness, or am I just kind of shooting myself in the foot and outsourcing the things that give me the most meaning? So,
Yeah, and like in seminary, I was in seminary and that's where I met you in Catholic
mhm.
seminary. It's like professors, like you write a paper and they're like, where's your sources? You have to have footnotes. And sometimes the footnotes for AI is like this guy's YouTube channel or like what they wrote on the internet, like on a blog. So you do
Yeah.
have to be careful and cross check, like, is this actually truth? And
Well,
the
Sean,
Catholic,
it's actually crazier than that. Someone who I work with was he. decided, you know, he was very much against using AI for academic research, uh, partially because he really enjoys academic research, and so he caved a little bit and he said, you know what, I'm just gonna try it, see what it does. And so it came up with all these amazing sources for the topic he was researching. He was like, oh wow, this is a topic I'm really familiar with. How come I haven't seen these sources before? And so he went and tried to search for them, and they didn't exist. The AI just made them up. And
Wow.
after that, he said, "Well, I'm done with that. I'm not going to use AI for research anymore." So, yeah, it will. It will. I know different models have different levels of lying that they do, but I mean, some of them lie up to 95% of the time, I believe, which is not a great metric for truth.
Looking to refresh your space without breaking the bank? JEC Painting has you covered. Whether it's a fresh new look inside your home or boosting curb appeal outside, we specialize in both interior and exterior painting with results that truly stand out. Call or text today at 419-350-8067. Notice with the younger generation, and it's like I'm 40 now, so I feel like everyone's in the younger generation. But I've noticed that there's kids that they watch other kids on YouTube play video games.
Hmm.
And it's like there could be other kids around them, but they're watching this other kid play this game.
Hmm.
And it's like you need that human relationship. And that's crucial for us as humans and in our development.
Yeah.
And that's how God made us, is to be relational beings. How
Hmm.
has AI evolved into a substitute for in person interaction?
Yeah. Well, it's probably more of just the next step in the broader battle for our relationships and attention. I mean, there's a massive war being waged for your attention right now. Anytime you get on your phone, there's countless companies and entities that are trying to capture your attention and keep it. And some of them have been able to dive so deeply into the psychology of attention that they can more or less capture your attention most of the time that they attempt to. Some of the major podcasts out there, uh, ads, it's pretty unprecedented. They know the psychology of human motivation, and they've been able to tap into that. So where I think it's kind of taking away relationships is that the people that we don't want to win that war for our attention are winning the war for attention. Um, and the people that we want to win the war for attention are losing the war for attention. So it's large corporations, politicians, sports stars, media personalities are winning the war for our attention, but they probably constitute probably less than 5% of what actually matters in our lives. And the people who deserve our attention and should have our attention the most are losing it, and that's teachers, parents, spouses, children, neighbors. Do you even know your neighbor today? I don't know. Um, and it's really hard to love your neighbor if AI, it, you know, is becoming even more optimized to take your attention. Um, and
Yeah,
it's going to get more individuated too. So it will know you better than these mass media advertisers might. So
it's really sad. Just like for me, I need to get better. There's sometimes I'm sitting on the couch and my wife is one cushion away and we're both strolling.
yeah,
And it's like what gets me is the comedy. Like my internet knows I'm very simple. And if they put like Seinfeld or something like comedians on there, I'm just like I keep scrolling. And it's sad because you're only on this life for so long. Like let's say I only lived for 60 years and I
hmm,
only got 20 years left. And I'm missing out on the relationship with my wife to just scrolling on the phone. So I've noticed that with myself, and I need to get better at that. But it's just sad because my generation I grew up in the woods, interacting with people, and now all of a sudden I'm just scrolling on the phone. And I've
well,
noticed when I take a
so
step back, I'm like, hey, my wife is right there. So that's
yeah,
something I need to pray and get better at, and just put the phone down and talk to my wife.
yeah. I wish it was as easy as just putting the phone down too. But I mean, they've got so many hooks in our brains that our dopamine reward system is pretty much addicted to it at this point. And so I don't. ADHD is definitely a real thing. So is addiction, and there might be some concern that some of what people consider ADHD could just very well be phone addiction. Like if you can scroll for 20 minutes, you have an ability to focus. it's it's just not what you want to be focusing on. So
Yeah. In the generation with my nephews, I'd always joked with them that you guys are the microwave generation. It's like they can't wait for more than a minute, like they need it now. And I feel like those little shorts on YouTube and Facebook is perfect. It's feeding
mhm.
right into that microwave generation. Like I need it now.
Yeah,
And yeah, so that's just some stuff I've noticed. And that started out as a joke. I'm like, oh, you guys are the microwave generation. And now I'm like, oh shoot, this is it's real.
it's real. Yeah, yeah, and
So
I think everyone's waking up to it too, and we're kind of sick of it. um, and if I can do anything in my therapeutic practice to get people out of that, I want to. And I think there's a big problem because 80% of the people who want help from therapists don't get it. So there's a real supply and demand issue with therapy. So I think we need to do a better job as psychologists and other mental health professionals to make it somehow be able to scale better, whether that's through group therapy or better public education. But yeah, and because I do think there is help for that, and you won't find AI psychosis in the diagnostic manual yet, but it's still a real thing.
I miss the days of the landlines.
Yeah,
It's just like when I'm out, I'm out. But now I feel like I have like a new limb. And it's just like, and sometimes it's like, I don't know if they're called like phantoms, but like I feel like my phone's vibrating and it's weird what it does to your body. That could be like another podcast. Many people are trusting and relying like solely on AI. And instead of thinking for themselves, they're just becoming lazy and weak minded as a result. And ethics and virtues just kind of go by the wayside. Now, how can people have healthy boundaries?
I think the issue of pornography might be a good example here. And you bet as AI gets more effective, the better it's going to be able to provide pornography and maybe even generate it. And I think it's already doing that really. But um, like, I want to take away any sense of blame or laziness people feel because this stuff has gotten so poisonous and effective that I don't know how much culpability we have sometimes. I think the church has a really big role to play here, and the Pope's new encyclical, uh, Magnifica Humanis, is really timely. Maybe more so than ever. I think the church has a really awesome opportunity to help people navigate a landscape that is not in their best interest. Um, I think there's even a growing sense that pornography, even in the secular world, is the harm that's there is becoming more evident to people too. Um, so, you know, if you got a hook in your brain, you definitely need help, and whatever embarrassment or professional intervention you need to overcome that, like do it now. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family, and um, like, there's never been a better time to be holy too, you know? Like, we have all these resources at our fingertips. And look, I'm poo-pooing the internet and AI right now, but it does have a measure of being able to do things in the positive direction too. And it's not clear to us how that works yet, but if it's a true tool and it has the capacity for moral goodness, the Pope would say that this technology in particular is not morally neutral. Like it does have positives or negatives built into it. Um, if that's the case, then we could probably do way more good with it than we could do evil. Um, and if AI can get you addicted to pornography, can it also help prevent you from getting exposed to pornography? Like, I don't know if Covenant Eyes, for instance, this software that helps with pornography use is using AI yet, but I mean, that could, if, for every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and the good usually outweighs the bad in those situations. So
Yeah, and I feel like I know the Pope, he mentioned what the governments need to help control AI in his encyclical. And I feel like that's where like the morality comes from. Like sometimes, so many times, the people running the government are corrupt, and we need to pray for good and holy leaders to be able to say, "Hey, pornography is a serious and grave evil, and we need to just get rid of it." It's like so many times they're like, "Oh, we have a nice software for kids," but it's just like so many times the kids can get into the parents, and it's just we need to get rid of pornography and real just call it what it is. It's evil pictures, and well, like you said, the AI is developing its own pornography, and that's just opening up a whole another door to evil.
yeah.
And it's yeah, there's a battle in AI right now. It's like you have fallen angels and good angels,
Hmm.
and yeah, you better believe there's going to be an AI. And yeah, it's like there is some good to it. You can know and learn about God, but we need God's grace to like transcend AI and actually have a real relationship with God.
Yeah, reels. I like the word real these days for sure. And the cool thing is we have a choice. Like we can choose our level of exposure to it. And maybe you have to use AI for work or something, but that doesn't mean you have to make that your only way of thinking outside of work too. And look, maybe AI will take our jobs. That's a possibility, but that's not really where our meaning comes from. Our meaning comes from gratitude, from responsibility and commitment to the people that we love, from um, work, service, and holy leisure, from worship, from play. Uh, you know, there's lots of things that we get meaning from that are not work. So if we end up all going on basic universal income, then that doesn't spell the end for our meaning. Um, yeah. So and the cool thing is social engagement, the ability to interact face to face with someone and do that in a measured way, is highly associated with um, good mental health and physical health outcomes. So the more you're able to unplug, unsubscribe, unlike, unfollow, not you. I want people to follow you. Um, the better, And if we can kind of optimize life for our body and soul instead of optimizing it for production, I think that'll go a lot further to to helping us reach holiness than if we were to, you know, rely on AI alone. So
Yeah. And Pope Leo, he said that we need more Catholic podcast. So that was
yeah,
he said that right before I came out. I'm like, all right, good. So that kind of gave me a green light. Like, because yeah, there's a lot out there, and you don't want to overwhelm people. So it's nice when the Pope says we need more Catholic podcasts. So like Catholic Psychology and How to Be Holy. So
yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, I I like small things. There's a local community here that I'm involved with. It's mostly lay people. I mean, priests show up sometimes, but we have a print magazine. Can you believe that? There's no electronic
oh
version of it. It's just a print magazine, and we all contribute to it. It's like our own little Twitter, and we'll write about topics like this or farming stuff or medical stuff or just like whatever people are knowledgeable about. Someone does a weekly crossword or like a monthly. Well, it's a quarterly crossword puzzle. And it's so rewarding. I can't believe, like, I'll get my guitar out and play Irish music for St. Patrick's Day, and there's like 40 or 50 people that show up. It's amazing. Like, why don't we do this all the time? And instead, as soon as I get home, I'm back on this thing again. So, um, yeah, but I want more of that. I want small podcasts, just small communities getting together, having real conversations with each other, and let's stop trying to look at so-called thought leaders and the people that are you know deeply tied to interests that might not be in our best interests. So I trust the people I know.
yeah. Now, before we leave, do you have any last words you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a lot of reason for hope today, and there's never been a better opportunity to practice the virtue of hope. You know, whatever AI throws at us, humanity's handled an awful lot. And the good news is we're going to find a good way to use it eventually. It might be tumultuous for a while, but we need a generation of saints who are going to rise up and show people the light in a world that's ready to sell us, fast success, wealth, and, uh, you know, worldly goods, essentially. I think that if we are open to each other and we take time to actually form deep relationships with each other, that's where the money's at, and nothing can stop that. Um, as soon as you take time to actually focus on what's going on in your real life, and take charge of your attention again, take charge of your mental health, that's when I think life can get really awesome. Yeah, let's not give up hope now. I think this is a great
Oh,
time to activate. So
no, thank you so much, Dr. Sam, for coming on Forgettable Saint. I really appreciate your insights and thoughts on AI and what we need to be watchful for and how there is hope with AI. There's gonna be good from it. So we just need to have those boundaries and that balance and yes, and if you're on the couch and both your spouses are up, just put down the phone and just talk to each other. And
yeah, right. Maybe you can use that time to write down a technology boundaries plan with each other. What level
yeah,
of technology do we not want? So
yeah, and pray together because yeah, we're all trying to become saints. So thank you again, and for all those listening, I hope you enjoyed this interview, and I hope to see you next week. Again, I'm Sean Farkas with Forgettable Saint.